Elkader has a portfolio of startups, but we all have portfolios probably in our investment accounts, retirement accounts around holding a whole bunch of equities and things like that. Do you think brands have that kind of discipline to look at how they're spending and adjust it on a period on period basis? What would be the opposite of a portfolio? You just come in and spend all of your budget on Meta. Maybe how many channels do you see folks running on average? And what are the step functions where they add more marketing channels?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty broad. I would say it really depends on your evolution as a business and kind of where you're at in terms of business stage. I would say that in the early days, especially if you're going after something relatively niche in a market, you're probably going to be heavily focused on search early on, right? Just trying to capture some of the niche inbound search that's going on for that category, trying to redirect it to your website instead. Because something like paid social is going to be extremely expensive because you need to do a ton of education on whatever that niche service is, and you're not going to get the ROI in the early days. Versus, let's say you have something that's relatively commoditized. Search actually might be very expensive to start there because everyone's going to be competing for those eyeballs. And maybe you'll actually have better luck getting through in social through a unique story, unique creative, and unique messaging. And you don't need to do education on the categories. You can drive consumers through that channel. So those are typically the two starting points that we see for a startup to take. And then as they get to a $10 million company, $100 million company, we even have some $1 billion companies in our portfolio now. And I've worked at, companies that do hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue in the past. The evolution typically evolves from whatever that starting point was. So as you kind of hit a saturation point on search as a niche business, it's impossible to continue to grow your scale until you start building some brand awareness in that category. So inevitably, you need to start investing in social. You need to start doing influencer. You might need to start doing out of home and TV, really around category education, versus somebody that is in a commoditized space. As they grow and as they build this really great base on social and kind of other channels that allow them to differentiate their messaging, we'll hopefully see more search related to their brand and will allow them to branch into more bottom of funnel oriented channels like search as they grow. So long-winded answer, but ultimately, I'd say as you start approaching, the $10 million budget mark in terms of marketing, I'd like to see at least 3, 4, 5 different channels in your mix. And as you start getting to the 25, 30, $40 million mark, you're probably looking at 5+ channels at minimum.